Today on the Brothers Murph, we tackle the age-old question. If you get past 1,000 on Board Game Geek, is there any good games?
Is there anything worth playing? Answer, no. End of top 10.
3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike. Man, that was good. That killed me. Oh, boy. We are the Brothers Murph. We're here for a top 10 of sorts.
Yeah. We're doing top 1 in 100 games.
1 in 100 games.
Part D.
Part 10.
Doing a little
1,000?
hot shots part D.
To 2,000.
Yeah, so basically what this is where we take, the first one we did was we took the 1,000 games of BGG, and from each 100, so like 0 to 100,
section, yep.
Our favorite game in each of our favorite games in that 100.
Only pick one.
Only one. Then move to 101 to 200, and then each of our favorite games.
100
each like
games.
that. And it went really well. People really liked the list, really liked the idea.
Yeah.
We'd never seen a list like that before, and most people apparently hadn't either.
Yeah, it's just
even
kind
like
of a fun...
people like Board Game Blitz, our good friends at Board Game Blitz, the podcast, which you should subscribe to.
Right now.
They did their version of it after ours came out. It's really cool. And so we were thinking, we're like, can we do the next 1,000? Like, could we do a part D?
Right. Is there any good games?
No.
It turns out, there's fine games in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of great games.
A lot, especially like newer games show up because they just haven't had the time to get up.
That
so
is
like,
true.
oh,
That's one of the things about the lower
very
ranked
current games.
It's like, sometimes you might find like a brand new hot game, but it's climbing. But as of this snapshot in history,
yes,
it's in the 2000s or whatever.
When you watch this years from now, this list won't make any sense because everything will be moved.
Yeah.
But for now, it's accurate.
Yeah, so we're going to go from 2000 to 1901.
Yeah.
And each give our favorite game, and then we're going to go 100 to 100 all the way down to 1,100 to 1,000. And then the real good games start. And then you can watch the other top 10, which will pop up over
now I got to remember where a card is. Okay, let me check
remember.
myself. Okay.
I think I usually do this motion.
Yeah, no, I'll scrub through.
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
Find it. It's before even the first one. That's easy. With that, though, let's begin with our, I guess, number 10 picks, which is our 2019-1 picks. What do you have, Nick? Out of the 1901 to 2000, what's your favorite game in that 100 games?
My favorite game is a game that I think will climb, although I'm not entirely sure how high, because I don't know how many people know about it or how well it did.
I thought you meant like within your own ranking. I see what you mean. Yes.
It also could do that. And mine is my number 10 or whatever one from this one is SANCTUM. SANCTUM by CGE. This is by the same designer who made like Adrenaline. And what this designer does, it takes like non-Euro themes. Mm-hmm. Like Adrenaline's like a first-person shooter. SANCTUM is kind of like a dungeon crawl where you're going to fight some big Balrog-looking thing, but then makes them Euro games. That's kind of like what this dude always does. And it's a very cool idea, and I love that idea of like, let's take this kind of theme, this whole theming, and all these kind of mechanics, but let's then tweak them into a Euro game. So this game, SANCTUM, is a game where you are climbing up, just climbing up and up this hill, basically, and trying to get to the Sanctum where this big demon is.
Knocking down baddies, they get turned into loot, kind of Diablo style.
Yeah, it's kind of Diablo. It's got a very Diablo
equipment for your body, and you can actually like equip stuff onto your person.
Exactly. So it's like this really cool board, this kind of 3 board, where as you're moving up, you kind of are swapping out boards, and they're kind of moving like this until you get to the last one. Yeah, and then you have, each person has a character. Each character has a body, so you're getting loot, because as you're going up, you're fighting all these demons, but every demon, once you beat them, you flip them over, and then there's an item. It could be like
something cool.
Some helmet. It could be some kind of greaves, like gauntlets, rather, greaves on your legs. But so it could be all these different things. So essentially, you're trying to get loot to then put on your body and get all your skills up for the final fight, because the final fight is a freaking gauntlet. It is just this, like, literally just it's
trying to
so
survive.
hard, and you're basically just trying. The whole game is you preparing for this final fight, and then you do the final fight, and you basically just see if you can even make it. And then if multiple people make it through the final fight, then you decide a winner based off of some different parameters. But it's got this really cool tech tree, whereas there are 3 different kinds of demons. There's like blue demons, green demons, red demons. Mm-hmm. And whenever you fight them, there's this whole like skill chart over here that has all these gems on it.
Like
and when you fight
around.
them, it might be like if you kill like a level 2 green demon, you'll get to take 2 of your green gems and move them up. And there's all these different cards and abilities on there. And then as you free up a card, basically you take all the gems off it, you then get that card. But you won't be able to get everything. So you have to choose like what's most important, and it's
sort of
very fun. I like it a lot. SANCTUM is great. My roommate loves it, so we play it a lot. It's really fun. check it out. If you like that theme, but you also like Euro games, it's really, really good.
Absolutely. I picked Wreck Raiders from this section. It's a dice drafting game.
Ruel.
Shouts out to Ruel for showing us this. It's a cool game where you're diving, you're trying to build like an aquarium.
You're raiding wrecks, underwater
you're
wrecks.
raiding wrecks. You're going down there diving and see what you find, getting shells and stuff from the beach at times. It's all about dice drafting. So you're taking different dice, which will allow you to kind of get your scuba divers around certain wrecks, which get you these tiles, which you can then put into kind of your personal display, or you can put them into this other kind of your left side of your board. And if you put like certain amounts of certain types of things like treasures and other stuff,
Just
it's all
other stuff
set
you find,
collection.
Yeah, it's set collection.
You can get these kind of contracts fulfilled essentially, which will give you these abilities. And it's just a cool little game. It's nice and colorful and like light. And I just really enjoy, like, there's a couple different directions to go, and you can probably try to maybe focus in one area or the other, but none of it's super complex. You're kind of trying to get those contracts. You're trying to fill up your like little personal vault and build like an aquarium to ultimately kind of satisfy your scoring.
It's got a really cool use of the box too.
Yeah, so the inside of the box is where you roll out those dice, and if the dice happen to land in these little squares, it might populate shells and things like that.
Yeah, which
so
is
it's like
an
a nice
interesting way to
little-
use the inside of the box.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
also a good random way to populate the board and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you got this stuff because they just happen to be lying in there, and that might happen a lot. It might not happen. It might happen a bit. So you kind of don't know. So it's a nice little bit of randomness there, but it's like just a little added perk on top of the dice that you have available to draft. So Wreck Raiders is my pick from the 2000 to 1901. It's just super fun, colorful, light, really in a nice level. Like we like a lot of those types of games.
Yeah, it's a great level.
Because they go down smoothly.
Always.
Yeah, so shouts out to Ralph for showing us that.
Is that Ralph?
Wreck Raiders is mine from 1901 to 2000. So let's get into the 1900 to 1801s. So my pick in this next section is Monumental. This is a game that's not brand new, but has just recently had another Kickstarter for some expansions and also for the base games.
More content was needed for that game.
Yeah, man. It's this giant deck building
so
game,
huge.
ultimately, that is very much a Kickstarter type project that has
Overproduced to the gills.
overproduced deluxe version, which I think now is the only version because I think people are like, yes, we want the big splashy minis version of this game, but it's ultimately, and we didn't know this, a deck building game that like
really
has
fun.
a Civ theme on it, and it's super duper fun. And I like it for its blown out nature. I mean, it is being what it's trying to be, which I think is
gorgeous.
Something we like, and it's very well done. Yeah, the minis are great. The art and stuff on the cards is good. It's just like looks super nice. So this is a game where you're going to be trying to go through 3 eras, and it's kind of like a through the ages, all those Civ games where technologies will advance and everything. You're building wonders of the world, all those kinds of things you'd expect to see. But it has this really cool system where you will have 9 cards in front of you, and like a deck builder, you might draw 5 cards, and that's your hand of 5 cards. Here you'll have 9 cards, but you will activate 1 row and 1 column, so you will activate 5 of those cards. But you have 9 to choose from, and where those cards are, you know, you might want to activate this card, but there's no way to make a row and column. You know, it won't work out because you also want this card over here, so you have to make some good choices there. And then from there, it's like you're going to get military production, you're going to get kind of production to build stuff, and you can get science, which will help you get like knowledge cards, and things like that. And you're trying to, again, build wonders of the world, buy more cards, classic deck builder style. You're trying to buy cards to have better production in the future or whatever it might be. You're going to get these military resources to move out on this board that has all these cool tiles and stuff. And you're
area control,
kind of get some area control, and that'll be worth points at the end of the game. But it's a cool... The thing I liked about this is like there's some area control. I might move in and mess with you, but it's not...
It's not mean.
It's not super mean.
Well, and it's also not debilitating.
No. It's like, okay.
Because you just basically, when Mike comes in and kicks out my people, they just go back to my home base. No one ever dies.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably, in theme, they probably do, but it's just like no one ever dies. And then I just get to, I can either kick them back out, or I can just move into different areas.
You can't get wiped out.
No.
And that's just one area of scoring. You could be like, I'm going heck of
And
knowledge.
it's just easy.
Stuff.
It's like you have 3 people in there. The tile itself takes 2. If I have 5, Mike's gone, now I go there. It's like there's no dice. It's just very, very simple area majority.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like things where it's pretty simple and streamlined. There's also cultural policy, so everyone's their own country and stuff, which will have a couple of basic cards that everyone has, and then a couple things that go into a certain direction. You have these cultural policies that are very specific to your nation. that you can enact and stuff that'll give you perks. There's just a lot of really fun stuff. And we really enjoyed playing it.
It's a game that we never, ever, ever would have looked at.
No.
Because it's big box, giant minis, and we like I like painting minis, but I don't really like miniatures games for the most part.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those things where like big minis games, we have a couple that we like, and then we don't play those kinds of games generally. We just don't. If you watch any of our stuff, you know that we're big Euro heads. So it's like, but then we got a chance to play this because we did an in focus for it for BGG, and it was just like, we were like, wow, this is incredible. Like
it's
the
really
game
fun.
itself is so,
Yeah.
I liked it so, we didn't even explore like all the heroes and all that kind of crap in it.
There's a lot of, as you said, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So this is a game that we would love. We didn't get to keep, and so I would love to find it someday and get our hands on it.
It'd be really fun.
Because it's really good.
It's real solid. What do you got for this section of games?
This one from here from 1900 to 1801. I have a much smaller game, which is Fox in the Forest Duet.
Yes,
Specifically the Duet one. Although Fox in the Forest, I'm guessing, is higher.
Yes, it is.
And the thing, but Fox in the Forest Duet is a kind of sequel to Fox in the Forest, which is a 2-player trick-taking game. Except for Fox in the Forest Duet now is a co-op 2-player trick-taking game. Co-op trick-taking games are becoming more of a thing, and I'm freaking here for it.
Yeah, it's cool.
Freaking here for
It's
it.
cool,
I love
'cause it works
trick-taking
really
games.
well still.
It does. If you do it right, it works. Because in theory, it shouldn't work. You know, it's like
Yeah, but I guess there's spades where you have a teammate and stuff, so it's
yeah.
like...
So
yeah.
it can work. And so what you're doing in Fox in the Forest Duet, it's like Fox in the Forest where there are 11 kinds of cards, and all the odd cards have special abilities that
Powers,
allow you
yeah.
to like change out the trump suit. You can do all sorts of different stuff with that. And it's 2-player trick-taking. I play a suit, Mike has to follow it. Whoever's the highest of that wins that trick. Boom. But again, now you're working together. So now you have this little forest board. It's a little tiny forest board. And you have a little marker in the middle. And then on some of the cards, there are little paw prints in the corner. And basically, whoever wins the trick, you count up the paw prints on both the cards, and then you push the marker in that direction. Or do you pull it?
I think you pull it. I think
pull
tug
it towards you.
It's
Sorry,
more
you
of a
pull it
tug
towards
of
you.
war.
Yeah, so if like say we have 3 paws total, the marker, and I won the trick, the marker would go doot, move 3 my way. And there's all these little gems on the board, and essentially you're trying to collect all the gems because theme. And so Theme of Fox the Forest.
Because they had cubes
means
on
nothing.
hand.
It's
Like,
ridiculous.
that could be a gem.
But nonetheless, you're just trying to collect these gems. So the thing is, you're pushing this marker back and forth.
Yeah, you're trying to get to the right
collect these
spots.
gems. Exactly, but you obviously can't talk about what you're doing. So you're like, I'm gonna put down this 3. We can, because you also can't go off the board. If you go off the board, bad stuff happens. You then cover
Yeah.
up some of the spaces, which
You have
means
to
you
be
have less
careful.
space to work. It's bad. So you're just, again, that kind of like that great thing about trick taking, the like sub communication that's happening. The
yeah.
communication that's under the table where you're just like, I'm putting this out, and I'm just like, play a 1 paw, because then I'll pull it 4 my way, and we'll really grab this gem that's
then I'm
almost
like,
on the end.
I see what
And
you're
like,
saying.
oh, it's on the end. And like some of the cards, like I think the 5 cards allows you to ignore the movement on one of the cards. So I can like, oh, I'm gonna play this one. I think he has the 5 because I don't have the 5. So he plays the 5, ignores the movement. We do what we want, and it's so gratifying.
There's a lot of cool stuff to...
But it's difficult. It's tough, and it's really, really fun. We actually have both Fox and Force and Fox and Force Duet, and we literally threw out one of the boxes, put them both in the box, and so now we have both games in one box. And now we want to play competitive, we play normal. Want to play co-op, we play Duet. It's great. If you like trick-taking games, 2-player, it's not the only 2-player co-op game. 2-player trick-taking game is going to show up on my list.
You're right.
Give it a try because it's really, really fun. It's probably like what, $15, I'm guessing. It's
not expensive,
It's
yeah.
a small game, but nonetheless, Fox and Force Duet is my number 9 or whatever from this list right here.
Boom.
1900 to 1801. Let's get to the next one. All right, my pick from 1800 to 1701 is a game we have talked about quite a bit, and so I'm not going to go into too much, but that is Stop Thief.
We've never mentioned it.
Never mentioned it. Stop Thief is
never
by
mentioned
Restoration Games, who sponsor the Brothers Murph. It's not why we
Boom!
picked it, but it is in our contract that we have to pick them for at least every single top 10, at least 3 of the numbers. So get ready for some more.
There is another one coming.
No,
to be
that's,
fair.
that's not true. But
No, it is. It's 100% true.
what?
There is another one coming.
No, that they do not force us to say their games. In
But
top
it's convenient that there is more, isn't there?
We do like their games, though. Stop Thief is a wonderful game. It's a game,
awesome.
app-driven game where you are given audio clues trying to find burglars. It originally was a competitive game. They made it competitive again, but now they made a co-op version of it that most people play because it's frankly more fun that way. And they came out with a second edition somewhat recently, which then kind of beefed up the co-op version because I think they realized that like, oh, most people play this co-op. We also are always like, hey, never play competitively, just play it co-op. So we're probably part of that problem.
It's so fun that way.
It's so fun, but you can also play 1 versus all, where one person is actually controlling the killers,
Seems
the
cool.
robbers, instead of the
Stop thief goes murderous.
But it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
App driven. It's a very simple game, and just so cool, the app integration, and so much fun. I love Stop Thief. I'm done.
It's so good. It's so freaking good. I chose a game.
I was surprised you chose this one from this list.
I know. There's a couple
There's another game I would have
others.
figured you would chose of this.
So there's Kokoro and Sorcerer City also in this section, but I chose Bananagrams.
You do love Bananagrams.
I
I'm horrible
I
at Bananagrams.
love Bananagrams. I like spelling games. You're not such
No,
a fan of those
I'm
types
not.
of games. Bananagrams is a speed spelling game that kind of goes Scrabble, where you're building out these tiles in different directions. You can combine things to make words and stuff. And it's a speed element where you're trying to be the first one basically to play out all of your tiles.
Yeah.
So you'll play out tiles, and there's a big central section of more tiles, and you're going to be grabbing those as you deplete your hand and all that. And you're trying to spell words quickly.
Yeah.
And the reason this got the pick was this game it's good, first of all, and I started playing this game well before I became what I would consider a board gamer.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the greater world of board games. It was just apples to apples and Bananagrams at this point. Basically,
all
that was
fruit-based games.
And I knew, and I
Point
knew I
Salad hadn't
liked
come out
those.
yet,
Yeah, Point Salad was next. And I knew I liked those and stuff, but I didn't know. I still wasn't aware of the greater world, because these are the things that would show up in Target, right? And they get in front of my face. And so for a long time, we just played and loved Bananagrams. We'd put it in our backpack and take it places. We'd go to Disneyland with it, and you can kind of play it.
Yeah.
And I just love it. And I still love it. I think it's so fun. And I just had to kind of give it some love, because that's a piece of why I'm here.
Yeah, that's
you know what I
fair.
mean? So
I love Bananagrams.
That's all. Again, it's just a speed kind of spelling game that's really fun. Would always get intense, because you're trying to dump letters that are bad and put them in the middle again and grab other things, and it always would come down to this final photo finish and stuff. So Bananagrams is just
good stuff.
it's just got a warm spot in my heart.
That's
It's part of
as it
why I'm
should.
here.
Yeah.
So that's
All right,
Bananagrams.
Bananagrams. That's our 18 to 701. 701.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next one.
Another game for me that really lives on its just sort of nostalgia or whatever, although it's a current game for me, is Strike.
Strike's great.
Strike is a game
I'll stand by Strike.
where you just slam dice into this little arena, this little plastic arena with a little
Gladiators,
spongy
yeah.
bottom, the other gladiators. And it's just, that's all you do. And if you roll doubles or something, there's reasons why people die. I don't know how it works. But the point is that every time I've played this, it's been at a convention or the Dice Tower Cruise or something. It's with Crystal and Ambi, who
Crystal and Ambi
champion
love
this game
Strike,
so
yes.
hard. And because of their enthusiasm when we play, it is such a fun time. Me and Dice don't get along. I don't do well at Strike. I don't have the techniques of certain types of bouncy rolls.
Ambi's
and
is just calculating in
'cause
her
you're
head,
trying to
where
get-
I'm just throwing
if
it.
you
I don't even
get
care.
doubles and stuff, you either you
take them out
get
and stuff,
more
yeah.
dice. I think you get those dice. So you're trying to hang on to dice for the long. You're trying not to be the only one,
Yeah.
with no dice. Anyway, so this just gets love because I'm every time we play it, we're at a place that we're already having such a good time with people who are incredibly enthusiastic, positive, joyful people, and it creates such fun experiences out of something that we all know is pretty stupid. It's like this, there's not technique, there's not depth, it's just throwing dice into a thing, and that's all it needs to be.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
so fun. So Strike, that's all I got. It's just that game always shows up at times where I'm already here with joy, and then it goes next level.
100%.
So
Yeah, Strike's great. Strike's great. Good choice.
So
My game is a game that brings us joy, especially
yeah.
during the winter months, which we're starting to get into. It's mid-September, so we're starting to get a little chillier, which is so
Yeah.
nice, especially here in LA.
Yeah,
And that is Gingerbread House. Love Gingerbread House.
yeah.
We are big champions of this game. I'm sure people are so sick of us talking about Gingerbread House.
I talked about it
Do
this
not
week
care.
already, so sorry.
Yeah, do not care at all. At all. I love it. Gingerbread House is great. It's a Phil Walker Harding game. Praise be. Praise be.
be.
Phil Walker Harding. Also has to show up on every list. He pays us.
He does.
In Australian dollars, which are they?
I don't think it's real. I don't think they're worth anything. I think it's
It's just fake.
like Chuck E. Cheese money or something. It's you can spend it there and that's it.
joke. No, but it's by Phil Walker Harding, which is great. We love Phil Walker Harding, as you know. But it's a game of basically where you are building up a little gingerbread house, and you have this little 3x3 grid, and you have these little kind of domino-ish looking tiles
Little 1x2s.
that are 2 spots long, and essentially you are putting a tile into your 3x3 grid, and you're essentially building it up and up and up like this. And essentially whatever you cover up with the tile, you're gonna get. So mostly what you're getting is different kinds of icing for your gingerbread house. And what that icing is gonna do is it's going to, you're essentially attracting different fairy tale creatures, different things from very public domain
Yeah, I mean, all
stories. Snow White's there.
Yeah,
you know,
everyone you expect. Rapunzel's there.
all the public domain stuff's there.
Golden Donkey, barks
Satan.
up gold, Humpty Dumpty, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Everything you just
Every public domain
Super
thing you
cool.
think of that's a fairy tale kind of creature
Pan, everybody.
is in the game. Yeah, Peter Pan's there. And essentially they're going to want different types of icing. So this one might want 3 pink icing and 3 blue icing. So then you are covering stuff up to mostly get icing to then capture the fairy tale creatures. So what they're
Who you've
doing is
lured
they're
up to
coming
your
and they're
house.
eating your house. It's annoying you. So you're trying to lure them into your house and then capture them. I maintain you murder them afterwards. But so you're trying to kill these creatures and just gruesomely. But you're essentially, it's just set collection. You're trying to get these different types of icing, and you are then just building up your thing. And you can get like stairs, which help you get to certain levels and stuff. And you can like do things where you can like swap things out. But whenever you murder a fairy tale creature, you get a little wild, like a 1-spot wild token, which
very useful.
which is very cool because then essentially you can put it over one thing, you get whatever's underneath it, and then the cool thing is you can start doing these combos where you'll get stuff, you'll get a wild, you'll put a wild down, allow you to get something else, you can grab another
Yeah,
wild,
you get
put it
this
down.
thing, you can lure a new creature,
And you
then
start
spend
getting
it
these
and capture
really
them.
cool combos going, and it's really fun, but it's ultimately very light, very cute. Again, it's gingerbread house. It's very cute and stuff like that, but it's got a dark underbelly with the murder. But it's very, very fun. I really like. If you like Phil Walker Harding, we consider it a holiday game, and it's just so good. It's
It just
so
makes you
good.
feel warm and fuzzy. Have some cocoa with it. Why not?
Yeah, it's great. It's
That's
great.
it.
All right, and that is mine for this 18 to 1700. Nope, wrong. 17 to 1600. I lied. You're wrong. I was right. What? Next list. So we talked about earlier, we have a couple minis games we like, or games with minis in them that we like, and this is one of them. This is one of my favorite minis games, and that is Rum and Bones. I really like Rum and Bones. I definitely like it more than this guy.
Yeah.
But that's because dice are Mike's worst enemy, and this is a dice chucker.
I've had some brutal games of this where I just set stuff up and it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, this one has been rough for you.
But it's fun though. It is.
It
Really
is
fun.
very fun. So this is a game. It's very Pirates of the Caribbean, where you have like these kind of fantastical pirates and dead people. You know, just very
Panda folk.
Panda folk. Yeah, there's a lot of different factions, but essentially it's like big ship, broadside towards each other, and you're just fighting.
Battle.
It's very MOBA style.
Gangplanks go down. Battle.
Yeah, gangplays go down, and you're just in MOBA style where you have your heroes, but then you also have all these kind of like
Kind of grunts, like
just grunts, just your crew, and they're just walking, and they walk forward. That's all they do. You can't control them. They just move forward and hit if they have something to hit.
Yep.
And then your heroes are running around, jumping, swinging from ship to ship, hitting each other. All the heroes have different abilities that you can, and they came out with Rum and Bones Season 1, which was fun, but definitely needed some upgrades. And they came with Season 2, which basically fixed all the stuff that was in the game. And now
really fixed it and
really added
made it
so much. We liked the game beforehand, but we really
much better with the second
liked
time.
a lot more because now you have like kind of like each of your heroes has like multiple abilities that you can then unlock and do all this kind of cool stuff.
Super cool.
Really, really fun. Great game. Again, we have 3 of the factions. We have Season 1. We bought like the upgrade pack for Season 1, so it has all the new rules and stuff. And then we have one of the expansion factions, the Mazu's Dreadful Curse, which is kind of very,
They have like
cool.
3 small ships. They have a whole kind of
Yeah,
different
their whole
ship
thing is like
system.
these
They like
3
surround you.
small ships, which is very cool. And it's like, yeah, it's very, very cool. And I was talking to Mike earlier. I was like, man, if this is somewhere like where I could find like the other factions for like really cheap, I'd probably pick them up because I really like the game. I've been very, 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 very slowly painting it. And someday we'll finish it. But this is like one of the few games where I'm like, I really actually want to have a full painted version of Rum and Bones. But I love it. Rum and Bones is great. It's one of the few mini games we really like. So
Yeah, I chose the same exact game. Basically, it's Keyflow, the card drafting version of Keyflower.
That polar opposite as you can get.
Yeah, but it's great. I love it. Keyflow, like I said, is Keyflower, but a card drafting version instead of tile laying, meeple placement, whatever key flower would be considered. And this one, it just basically does the same thing where you're moving through 4 seasons, but you're drafting out cards, and those cards might have meeples on them. Instead of physical meeples, you'll have meeple cards, or keeples, excuse me. We're in the key world. Keeples. And you are, in the first 2 seasons, putting out cards that are going to give you the ability to produce goods and things like that. There's like wood and coal and yellow, you know, gold, which is wild and stuff. And then you're putting out these boats and stuff that will give you sometimes like end game scoring opportunities.
Yeah.
They might give you powers and stuff like that. And there's also animals, which will go toward end game scoring. So the first half of the game is about building up some production.
Yeah.
And then starting to produce some goods. The second half of the game, fall and winter in particular, the cards are very much concerned with end game scoring.
End game, just boom.
So it's like, okay, you got resources. Now you have to get resources to these cards to store them up because you're kind of preparing for winter. So you're going to store some wood and stuff like that. And if you get these types of things, right, theme, onto this card, it's going to be worth these amount of points. Or you can play this card, which means all of your cows are worth points. Or you get this card over here, which will give you points for this other type of thing.
Scoring.
There's so many. I can't even get into any of them specifically.
Scoring this game is it's a task.
It takes almost as long as the game because key flow goes very quickly. It's drafting, so everyone's playing simultaneously. They streamline a lot of things in terms of like, I can still make use of my neighbor's town that they've built, but unlike Keyflower, we have to put meeples over there and mess with them and stuff. I just put this thing, I get to make use of their building.
But it doesn't affect me
doesn't
at
stop
all.
you from using your building, and so we can all kind of keep playing simultaneously, so it's really quick. And then you go into the scoring, and it's just all maxing out. Because you can't use the same resource for multiple scorings.
So if I have a cow and I have 2 cow scoring cards, that one cow can only go to once. You're just like,
so you got
you're literally just like bringing a spreadsheet, being like, all right, what okay, this cow is better if it's over here. It's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great. I mean, it's a fun
so
problem
good.
to think about, and because you only have those 4 rounds, I mean, you feel under the gun straight away. You're on the clock. Like
you're already stressed out.
You have to think about like, okay, what do I want to get? And then there's also this like where you're placing cards out, adjacency matters because if you're moving things around, you have to spend movement points to move them. So how do I build the thing so I don't put a wood storage facility on one end and my wood producing facility on the other? It's like I can't get the stuff over there.
Got time
so you kind of have to think of it logically like you would if you were building a town. It's just great. Like we really love it so much. We don't get a chance to play it very often.
Because you really want to play it with 3. It's good at 2. It's got like a 2-player like variant way to play it. That works really well. But you want it at 3. And one thing that's great about the game is like whether you're playing with 3 people or like 6 people, you only ever care about your neighbors. Yeah. So it doesn't slow down the game.
I don't have to keep track of everybody.
Yeah, you can only affect your neighbors or really do stuff with your neighbors. So playing 3 is basically the same experience as playing with 6. And so like we just don't get the game to the table very often because we generally don't have 3 people to play with.
I would love to, and because it's so fun, it's really fun to play with more than we probably ought to play it more.
Yeah,
because the 2-player works great, but yeah, it's nice. The drafting games in general are great that way, where it doesn't slow down a ton. Like one thing you do is there's more people to think about their cards, and people don't all like plan out their stuff at the same speed. So that's the only thing. But generally, you do your thing and you're doing stuff at the same time. So that's why drafting games are brilliant in their idea. But anyway, that's plenty about key flow. It's so fun. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I just want to play now. Anyway, we'll get into the next section of games, which is going to be get to 1500 to 1401.
Nice.
Nailed it. I'm not done. Praising the bee.
Oh, what's
I said that very loud. I popped the sound. Sorry, sound. Phil Walker Harding designed another game recently that's based off of his greatest blunder.
According to us, yeah.
I'm not going to say that our God is not flawed. He is. He
He's
made one bad game and everything else has been great.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. So I'm talking about IMHOTEP the Duel, which is another Phil Walker Harding game.
We're not fans of IMHOTEP.
We're not fans of IMHOTEP. I do want to give it another shot, but we were not fans. But I really enjoy IMHOTEP the Duel, which is a 2-player version of IMHOTEP that's based off of IMHOTEP in that you're trying to do these 4 different things and you're still kind of messing with each other, getting each other's way, but it just flows it fits my style a little better because now you have this like harbor, a little 3x3 harbor, and you're putting little meeples out and there's ships all around the harbor. And once there's at least 2 workers in any row or column, you on a turn could say, I'm gonna send that ship.
Yeah.
And then whoever's in that row or column based on the ship's position and then looking out kind of into the harbor itself, people are gonna get things. So if I have like two people that are meant for this ship that's going this way, and you have people going this way, and I'm in the back row, you're like, well, I'm not gonna let you get everything on this. So I'm gonna send this ship so that one in the back, I still get something.
You still get something, yeah.
So it's good, but you're like, no.
Yeah.
You're trying to do all this. I'm gonna take a worker away from that other column this way, but it doesn't feel like...
It doesn't feel like you're doing it strictly for spite
Strictly
reasons.
for spite, yeah. Like with IMHOTEP, I felt at times like I was getting nothing out of the deal. I was, but I felt like, man, I was doing this thing. They sent my ship to this other place, and it didn't help me at all, and I hated it. And this one, I'm like, it seems like you have a little more control over your own fate, but it still keeps that kind of, I'm gonna mess with you, my positioning, I'm gonna try to get what I want and deny you what you want. So it just works better for us.
I totally agree.
So yeah, that's IMHOTEP the Duel. Quite like it. We like to joke about how much we hate IMHOTEP.
It's honestly not that bad.
But IMHOTEP the Duel, we do prefer over that. So that's my pick.
My pick is, where are we right now? We're 15 to 14.
Yeah.
Wow. My pick is the second 2-player trick-taking game on this list.
This one is very much competitive, though.
This one is very much competitive. This is Claim. Claim is a game by Scott Alms. With art by Mihailo Dmitrievsky, which is one of my favorite board game artists. Did like Raiders of the North Sea, all the
You've
West
seen
Kingdom
his
games.
stuff.
Yeah,
You know exactly what the art is.
oh boy. But basically, this is a 2-player only trick-taking game, which again is such a cool concept because generally I would say is hard to do. But this is a game where there are a lot of different expansions for it, and essentially what it is you are going to have 5 different types or suits of cards, but the cards are different.
Fantastical creatures.
There's like giants, and there's like gnomes, and there's like goblins and
undead
knights.
and
There's the
doppelgangers.
undead and doppelgangers, all these different kind of suits, and it is basically trick-taking game. Mike starts out with a doppelganger. I have to follow suit if I can. Yada, yada, yada. Trick-taking. You win a trick if you're higher. Great. But the thing is this game is very, very interesting because what you're essentially trying to do is gain majorities in each of the different factions. So at the end of the game, if Mike has 5 doppelgangers, I only have 4, Mike scores the doppelgangers. He'll get a point. Basically, you're trying to get more majorities than your opponent. Pretty easy, but the way it works and why it's so brilliant and so cool is there are 2 rounds to the game. There's the first trick-taking game where we play the whole trick-taking game. And essentially, during the first half of the game, there's the deck of cards, and then there's always a face-up card. And basically what you're doing is you're playing for that face-up card. Yeah. So whoever wins the trick gets that face-up card. The person who loses gets a card off the top of the deck. And essentially, I think it's 13 cards, right?
Yeah, there's two 13-trick rounds.
Exactly. So by the end of the first round, we played 13 tricks. At the end of that round, we're going to have 13 cards. And then we play again with those cards that we got in the first half of the game.
And then you're playing for those faction majorities.
Then you're playing for majorities. Yeah. So you're essentially the whole time in the first round just trying to set up the second round.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get the stuff, and so you're like, oh, that's a number 9 doppelganger. It's like the highest one.
Gotta win it.
I gotta win this one. But at the same time, you're like, ooh, that one's only like a 3. I'm gonna take a blind draw, because that blind draw might be the number 9
You might try to deliberately lose, because like, I want Nick to have to take that card. I might get a better card off the deck. So you're always like, playing to win or playing to lose.
Yeah, so there's this weird tug of war with there where you're trying to set yourself up, and I am horrible at it. I'm just so bad at it, and I love it. But then on top of that, all the factions have abilities.
Yeah.
So you have like the knights, and basically knights always beat goblins because
no matter
knights
what.
beat goblins.
Weakest knight beats the strongest goblin.
So yeah, if you have a number 9 goblin and you're able to throw off, because again, you have to follow suit. Right. But I throw off with a level 0 knight, boom, I win the trick. There's there's like a seer in one of the expansions where you get to peek at the face down card.
You can choose which one
so
you
you're
want.
like, oh, I'm gonna choose this one because screw that card. There's all these different factions, and then there's like Claim 2, which has like 5 more factions. You can play on its own, and there's a bunch of expansions.
Yeah, that'll come with like a couple factions, and then like different things that impact the game. Like there's one that's like, this rule for the game is in place. Now this thing has to happen, or additional
just like
ways you can
locations that
win,
change the rules of the game.
Yeah, all sorts
There's
of stuff.
one with like artifacts. There's all this crazy stuff for it. There's a ton of content, a ton of different factions.
Yeah.
And you just choose whatever factions you want to play
Mix and
with.
match.
And it's so much fun. I think this might be my favorite trick-taking game.
Oh.
Which I know everyone who plays the crew will probably scream at me because I love the crew. But I think this might be it. I love Claim so much.
It's definitely one of the most like creative and diverse.
Yes, it's
Which
so
is a
much variety.
strong
I
thing.
love Claim so much. Yeah. So Claim is my choice for this 100, 1500, 1401. Let's get into the next 100.
Cheer.
1400, 1301, Adventureland
there.
is mine.
Nice.
I love Adventureland.
Yeah.
Haba Games, which
It's not just for kids anymore.
it's not just for kids, and it hasn't been for a little while. They have their yellow box games, which are more or less for kids.
Yeah.
But they have a family weight type of games.
kind
They
of
have Iguazu, they have, Adventureland, they have Miyabi.
Mountains, Miyabi,
a
yeah.
bunch of stuff, and it's kind of family weight game, and they're all really, really good. But my favorite is probably still Adventureland. I really, really
cool
like
game.
Adventureland. It is a weird game in terms of
It's
what you're doing. Basically, you're on a grid that's like numbers and letters, a grid, and everyone has like 10 workers,
I think 10 like adventurers, yeah.
and basically all your adventurers are moving along this grid and trying to land on certain spots to get certain things. You're trying to get like weapons. You're trying to land on like fog monsters, defeat them because theme, and so all this kind of stuff. But basically, your adventurers can only ever move down and to the right.
You're forever marching forward toward
To
an
the
inevitable
bottom right
end.
corner. Yeah, exactly. So things, your adventurers can never ever move back. It can never ever move up. So essentially, on your turn, you can move an adventurer all the way to the right, but they can never go left. They can only ever go down. So essentially, you have all these different workers, all these different adventurers, and you're just moving them down the board in a way that's trying to not like block you off from different because if you move all your people boom to here, this whole half the board is gone.
Yeah, and you're revealing new elements every round via
Yes.
card. So it's kind of like, I know that this thing back here hasn't gone yet, so do I keep one of my adventurers back to hopefully let that card get drawn, to be able to grab this thing? I need to get this gold or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's very much about,
and it's such an
when to move
interesting
your people.
concept. Like
Yeah.
it's so hard to like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I go here. Yeah, it's so awesome. And on top of that, there's a bunch of different ways to play the game. There's a bunch of different
It's like 3 different modes. Or
yeah,
something?
there's essentially different modes. Like sometimes you want all your people like bunched up. Sometimes you want them all spread out. It just kind of depends on the mode you're playing with. But on top of that, it's very simple. It's really, really fun in a game that has gone completely under the radar. And if you see it, a lot of times Haba sells it for pretty cheap. Pick it up if you can. It is so much fun. I think the expansion, which I don't think is in print, I think also makes it co-op too.
That can be really cool.
I don't think the expansion's in print anymore. But nonetheless, don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. But no, Adventureland is incredible. Try it if you can. They usually can find it pretty cheap. Grab it. It's so good.
They're slanging it, y'all.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it hasn't gotten more love.
Yeah, it deserves it.
Yeah, a game that we also really love and I think has done well for itself is from Blue Orange Games called Detective Club. This is our, I think, maybe one other exception. This is one of our favorite social deduction games. It's great. It uses wonderful art, very Dixit style. You could use Dixit cards in this game just fine, or any game that features that weird art style.
Yeah.
Basically, you're gonna have all these odd cards with just art that's all over the place. And
bears flying and umbrellas
whatever
over
it
here.
might
There's
be,
some
like,
mushrooms that for whatever.
Whatever it might be, right?
Very
like dream
surreal.
cards,
Yeah.
And if Nick was the investigator, the lead investigator this turn, he's going to choose a clue. And this is going to be based off what you have in your hand. You're like, I'm going to make a clue based off of this. It's going to be rainfall. And then you're going to write rainfall on all these pads of paper. You're going to leave one blank, though.
Yeah,
then you're going to randomize that so no one knows, and you're going to pass those out. So everybody but one person is going to have the word rainfall on it, and now it's up to them to use their cards to try to prove that they know the clue.
Yep.
But also maybe not give the clue away.
Yep.
So, but the thing is like these cards are wild, so you just might not have anything that like
all your cards
really
are deserts, and you're like,
so okay,
oh, no.
well the sand is kind of falling, so I can make an argument that it's rainfall. And then starting with Nick, the lead investigator, he'll play a card that he thinks pertains to rainfall. Everyone else will play a card. Nick will play a second card. Everyone else will play a card. And if you're the imposter, you're just trying to kind of blend in. But this game is nice, and we've talked about it many times, where it's a little easier to blend in because A, all the cards are weird.
Yes.
So all the cards both work for the clue and also in some ways do
you
not
know
work for the clue.
and have
Nothing
nothing for it. Yeah.
And you're just like, I got to try to argue. And if you try to argue it, you're going to look shady.
Yeah.
And so, and you as, if if I'm the imposter and like the first 3 people all have stuff to do with water, I'm like, well, I'm going to play something that has to do with water.
Yeah.
That seems to be
You're
a
following
theme
patterns.
here.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on, but I know that water's a part of it. And then before we kind of argue our case, Nick will reveal the clue. So if I'm
okay.
sitting back here,
The clue was rainfall.
I'm like,
Mike,
okay,
why? How do these represent rainfall?
well, because there's a wave that goes over, and what do waves do? They fall,
That's
and
not
there's
rain, that's
mist
in
and
the
stuff.
ocean.
Yeah, but I
No,
mean,
I
it's
don't
what I
think that-
had, though. It's the only card I had.
It's
you know?
exactly like this.
And that's what the game does.
And the imposter then now knows the clue, so they look at their cards and go, "Oh crap!
Yeah.
Oh crap! Rainfall!
They
rainfall!
have
okay,
maybe-
this looks like rainfall." And it's not necessarily easy to hide, but you have a way to
You have a shot. You have
And
a shot.
everyone kind of looks suspicious.
Yeah, everyone looks kind of shady. So it's just super fun. We've talked about it a bunch. It's just, it's a fantastic social deduction game because as the imposter, you have a shot.
Yeah.
Sometimes
and also,
you're
as the lead
truly blind.
investigator, you get points if the imposter doesn't get found.
Yeah, so you're kinda
you
like,
also don't want to make your clues too obvious. It's great. It's just
Yeah,
great.
it's great.
Sorry, keep going. It's so good. It's so
Anyway,
good.
that is Detective Club. That's my pick from this 1301 to 1400 section. Play it. So good. So good.
It's very good.
Let's get to the next section. 1201. Yeah, we're good.
yeah.
To 1300.
Yeah, there you go.
There we are. I'm here.
There you go. We're here.
I have Circadian's First Light.
Yeah, we
which
just
is,
played this again the other day.
Yeah, it was the first time in a while.
Yeah.
Like we had I'm glad I played this because I might not have picked this otherwise.
yeah.
But this saved me from choosing Bang as my game, which is an important one because it helped get me into the hobby. But anyway, Circadian's First Light is a better game than Bang. It's a game where you have dice workers and you're going to be rolling dice kind of behind a screen and then allocating those dice to different areas. You have farms on your little player board that you can get resources. You can put them into your garages, which actually go out onto the various player boards in the center of the table to do stuff. And it's a cool game where you're like on an alien planet and you're trying to harvest resources and then sort of work on relationships with the three native races to this. So it's one thing I appreciate. It's not like, let's go in and kill them. It's like, no, like you're like working and trading and stuff. So I'm like, nice, thank you. And it's this game where it's sort of simple. You're trying to build some items, which is a big way to score. You're trying to trade with those the different people that live there, and that's another big chunk of scoring. And then you're trying to like produce goods, and it's kind of a weirdly tight game.
Yes.
It's hard because everything that you're trying to do to move your harvester around, to go out here to get another die, to get another farm, it's expensive with resources. So you have to like really push to get those resources made to do anything because everything you do is just going to wipe you out pretty much. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. There's cool little events each round.
Yeah.
The theme and the art style is
really
solid.
cool, yeah.
And it's one that like we played a couple times.
Yeah.
Took a break just because we have lots of games. And we were kind of, I think, both like, do we like this game that much?
Yeah, very much like, I don't know if I like that.
And then we played it the other day and we're both like, man, this is really good. I forgot. Like we should probably play this again soon. And from what I hear, it has a really good solo.
I really want to play it solo, yeah.
Good AI. So anyway, Circadian's First Light. Really dig it. Want to play it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike, praise freaking
Bro, I forgot.
Phil Walker Harding.
Praise
This is great. This is Sushi Roll. That's my choice for this. Sushi Roll.
Cheers.
Sushi Go Killer. Fight me.
It doesn't have the it doesn't have the variety of Sushi
Doesn't
Go
need it.
Party. It doesn't need it.
Here's the thing. You know what doesn't need the variety of Sushi Go Party?
Sushi Go Party.
Doesn't need it. It don't need it. Because every time you're playing Sushi Go, you're playing with new people. So you always end up playing the basic stuff.
Just do tempura anyway.
Just do temporary every single time. It's no point in changing anything else out. Yeah. Sushi Roll is like the dice version of Sushi Go. It is great. It's so much fun. It simplifies the game even more. It's already a very simple game. What I mean by simplifies is it makes the drafting easier. Drafting, as we said multiple times, is a tough mechanic to teach people, even experienced people, because people don't draft at the same rate, which is rough, because then I draft real quick, put my cards over here, and then this person, and somehow someone ends up with one more card than everyone else.
Yeah.
No one knows how it happens. No one knows where, but this is dice. You're drafting dice. You're on these little conveyor belts, and everyone at the same time goes, and you move your conveyor belt to the next person. And you're just grabbing sushi, moving around. So it keeps the drafting confined.
It's all in front of you.
Yes, and it makes it work, and you can see it, and it's great. And essentially, you're drafting these dice, and these dice have different sushi faces on them, like sashimi and all these different nigiri, all kind of stuff. And kind of like that, you're trying to collect different things are worth different things. Different things are worth different things. Good English, Nick. Different things are worth different points. You know, nigiri is just worth straight up points. Tempura, you want 2 tempura. You know, sashimi, you want 3.
Yeah, and it's all on the little menu in front of you where you're actually putting your dice. It shows you how everything scores.
But then you have some mitigation. You have menus which allow you to re-roll your die, because when you get your next die to you, you re-roll them. But the dice themselves have different colors on them, and you know, like the purple die has tempura, sashimi, and dumplings.
Yeah.
And you know that. So if you're like, I need more sashimi, I'm about to get a bunch of purple die.
Re-roll, see if I can get that.
Yeah, so you go eventually by the color, so you play a menu, you can re-roll them. Or you can play a chopsticks and you can swap a die on your conveyor belt with someone else's conveyor belt and then put it on your menu. Once it's on your tray, you can't steal anybody's stuff. But there's a little bit of mitigation, a little bit of manipulation, and it's just...
And you also see what you have available. Like you
so
said,
simple,
you don't know what's on the dice faces, but you know, oh, there's a lot of dice that do provide dumplings. I have a shot at it.
I'm going to grab some wasabi now because I know Mike's about to pass me 3 white dice, which are the nigiri die, which go on top of wasabi.
I can make an informed decision.
Okay. And it simplifies it, it streamlines it, it's great.
It's chunky.
Maximum chunk with those dice.
Great.
It's so good. Get rid of Sushi Go.
Do it. We
said it.
We did.
Sushi
we
roll.
don't need Sushi Go Party. We do need Sushi Roll. Praise be. The
Praise be.
Praise be.
My game from 1200 to 1101, we actually played yesterday, and that is Castell, and it's still amazing.
It is.
Castell is so freaking good. It's a game where you are Castellers, and you are rolling around the south. You're rolling around the Barcelona region of Spain.
Catalonia?
Catalonia, that's where we're at. I was not Barcelona, Catalonia, thank you.
Sorry if we messed that up.
Catalonia, region of Spain. You're basically Castellers. Castellers, if you see those videos on like YouTube, it's
Giant human pyramids.
Giant human pyramids.
Human towers.
Yeah, they're towers. They're just like Leaning Tower of Pisa.
They are.
Amazing stuff.
Nuts.
And that's what this game is about. What a cool theme. Choose cool themes for your games. And essentially what it is you're basically going around the different regions of Spain, trying to gain new Castellers into your troop and then put on performances. Performances, again, are you stacking these little tiles of people making these big things. And it's so cool because there's all these rules in the game, and then there are all these ways to then just break all those rules.
You practice and get better, and then you can do...
So as you start out, your pyramid can only be 3 tiles wide. But then you can train in width, and now your pyramid can be 4 tiles wide. If you train in width again, your pyramid can be 5 tiles wide, which allows you to then make a bigger tower. There's all these different things. You can't put the same number on top of each other. It's like a number 6 Casteller, you can't put another 6 on top of that.
It has to be some lower number.
But if I train in strength, I can do that one time. And so you just start breaking all these rules in this very thinky game, and it's so much fun. We talk about it all the time. Again, a game that went under the radar.
Yeah.
So good. We played it last night.
I'm just like, how is this not in the top 1,000?
Yeah, right? Not in the top
It's like,
1,000?
I cannot understand that. It does not make sense.
So good. Castell's amazing. It's great. Check it out. It's wonderful. I love Castell.
It's wonderful. I chose a 2-player game. We have a lot of 2-player games in this section. It's a 2-player.
We play a lot of 2-player games.
We do. And I guess 2-player tends to live in the 1,000 and 2,000 range.
We probably actively seek out 2-player games a lot.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
I mean, a game has to play well at 2-player at the minimum, and if it's a 2-player game, you better believe I'm interested in it because I'm like, well, that might be kind of
Hopefully
cool.
it plays well at 2.
Yeah. But I chose a 2-player set collection game, Tides of Madness, which we've talked about.
Drafting game.
A drafting game, yeah.
It's
drafting set. Yeah,
which again,
right.
2-player drafting. How do you pull that off? You know,
by doing it.
Yeah,
and it's 2-player drafting to do ultimately set collection, and this has the Cthulhu theme on it, which adds just a nice little stitch to it with madness and stuff. So. We're not super into like Cthulhu themed games, but this one makes for a nice bit of extra tension, and the art is fire. So give it that.
Such a small game.
Yeah, it's crazy art. So in this game, you're just drafting back and forth. You're going to play 3 rounds and stuff, and you're trying to get these different sets. And so a lot of times what will happen is a card will score for maybe these 3 types of suits, but the suit of the card itself is not, it's a green when you need blue and red. So it doesn't participate in its own scoring.
Yes,
so it's like, okay, I'm gonna put this out, but then maybe I should try to get somebody to score green because that's a green card. It's just about trying to get these different
little
sets.
thinky sex collection.
Yeah, and then there's these cards. A lot of the cards will have tentacles on here, which will give you madness, which can be good to have some because you can get some points and stuff. But if you have too much, you'll instantly lose.
They tend to be the very good cards.
The powerful cards. So you're just drafting back and forth, and at the end of the round, you're going to keep one of your cards. I think you'll have 5 maybe at the end of the first round. You'll keep one, It's going to stay out in front of you.
Forever.
Forever. And then you're going to draw a new card, and you're going to discard a card, so a couple of cards are going to shuffle out. So if I know Nick's been using this card, I'm like, I'm getting rid of that card. It's out of the game. And you're going to play another round. At the end of the second round, you'll put a second card. So going into the third round, you have 2 cards that are set. So you might be on the way to some really good set collection. Yeah. And that's all it is. It's just drafting. You play 3 quick rounds, and it's just beautiful art, haunting kind of art. I mean, it's all these ancient ones and stuff. And it just creates a really cool,
really fun
idea of kind of the set collection drafting game. And because it's so heads up, I can see what Nick's going for. I know what these are in. So do I play this just to deny him that? There's a lot of good tension there. And then with the madness, it's so fun because I always play into it. Nick's just like, I'm gonna keep giving you tentacle cards, and you're going to go.
Crushing me in points. I know I'm not gonna win, so I'm like, all right, I'm never drafting a normal.
So I like that there's this backdoor
I'm just gonna
victory.
try and throw off all madness to Mike and try and force you to go insane.
All madness to Mike.
All madness to Mike.
So it's kind of cool. Like you can sort of backdoor this victory. It's great. So that's my pick is Tides of Madness.
Yeah.
How good.
All right, let's get into the last one.
Ooh, 1,000 to 1,100. Let's go.
All right, last one, 1,100 to 1,001. We're almost to good games because only good games are in the 1,000.
This is a good game I got, and did we not mention that Restoration Games is going to pop up again? Fireball Island is just outside the top 1,000, but it's quite good. It's quite fun.
Have fun.
It's just a fun game
so fun.
where you have a 3D island and you're flicking marbles at each other and knocking each other down, trying to get treasure, take some pictures, try not to be killed by Volcar. We've talked about it a lot. It's incredibly fun.
And just have fun.
It's just silly good time. It'll make you laugh. It's a great family weight game.
It is 100% for fun.
For fun.
It's not the other games. You're like, oh, this is great because it makes you think and da da da. It's
this
like,
one,
this is just
it's
for fun. Just have fun.
Giant strike in terms of like it's just big. Have fun with it. Talk some smack. Try to pull off a cool trick shot and get out. Like it's just we've talked about it so many times. We've talked about how it should be treated for fun. It's a great time.
Yeah.
We've had so many laughs playing this. It's just so cool that it's back, people. It's cool. It's been cool, like, you know, going to conventions with Restoration Games, working their booths. It's been really cool to see people see Fireball Island again and see, like, I played this as a kid, and they're stoked, and they get to demo it and stuff. We've had so many moments where I'm like, man, you see people's childhoods, like,
flash
reignite
eyes.
as they like, I played this in the 80s, and like, it's been such a fun. I mean, that's part of why we like it so much. I'm like, man, I've had a lot of really cool experiences playing this game, kind of like Strike, where it's like every time I'm playing this game, it's a really cool situation.
It's a memory every time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like, we've been really lucky to be able to like demo it for people and stuff at conventions and have so much fun.
Awesome.
It's so freaking fun. It's just a good time. It's a good hang, man.
Good hang.
So anyway, that's my last pick for this is Fireball Island. The Curse of Volcar.
My last pick is a game that I feel like I'm the only one who likes, and that's okay. And it's Ecos.
I love it.
You like Ecos. Yeah, I guess you. I feel like we're the only ones who like Ecos for con. As far as Ecos first con is what I'm saying. I don't know. I feel like I've heard some people going like, yeah, I didn't like it at all. And I'm like,
it's a bit divisive. People either like the bingo, like you draw stuff out of a bag that gives you elements, and people either like that or hate it.
Yeah, I love it. I think this game is so much fun. I think it's got so much depth to it. John D. Clare game
super
in
cool
AEG.
combos.
Yes, dumb combos. But basically, you have some cards out in front of you. You can add more cards to your kind of little tableau. And these cards will have symbols on the left side, and these symbols are what you need to activate it. And so every turn, the Harbinger is what they're called. Pulls out these maximum chunk tiles. So unnecessarily chunk. Love it.
They're real good.
Pull out these maximum chunk tiles, and they'll have one of those symbols on it. Then everyone will take one of their little cubes and cover up
like a little
one of
energy
those
cubes.
symbols on one of their cards.
If you want.
Yeah, if you want to. And then if you cover up all the symbols on the card, you then can activate it. One cool thing about that is when you activate it, you then rotate that card 90 degrees, and cards, depending on the different kind of cards, can be activated multiple times. You activate it, all the cubes go away, you have to refill it, you can activate it again. Sometimes they're one-off cards, which are really strong, but sometimes they can be activated 4 times if they're a little bit weaker. And the cool thing is a lot of times on these cards, they'll give you more elements, which you then can put on other cards and then activate those cards. And you can get these dumb combos going. And it's so much fun. But then you have this growing continent of these hexagonal tiles. And essentially, you're putting out these different animals a lot of times. You put out like hippos, put out sharks. You can put out like
types of animals.
Dude, this gazelle, hella animals, all these different kind of animals. And then depending on the cards, it'll be like like rhinos. Like rhinos in real life like to be solitary. There's not a lot of rhino like packs running around that I know at least. So it's like, and rhinos want to be on desert tiles. So I have this card where I activate it. I get to put out a rhino somewhere, and then it says for every rhino that's not adjacent to another rhino is worth
4 points.
4 points or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here trying to spread out my rhinos and stuff like that, and all this kind of stuff. And you're sent. It's a race to first to like 80 points or whatever, or I think
You
less
can do
or
60
more.
or you can choose. Yeah.
And everyone is working on this continent together. But we all have different goals.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes, as Mike cruelly did to someone was lined up a whole line of hippos because they were trying to get this card that had for your big line of hippos, and then Mike had a shark where if he can eat a bunch of stuff in a row, he'll get a ton of points. So Mike just went and just wiped out all these hippos.
I carry a lot of guilt about it, but man, that was a great move.
And so you can put together these things, and sometimes you're messing with each other a lot, sometimes you're not, but you're all basically kind of tugging a war trying to make this continent
make
look
it work
how
for
you want it to
you,
look. And it is so fun, and ultimately a pretty simple game. You're drawing out tiles, you're putting stuff on your cards, you're activating those cards, which are all pretty self-explanatory. The depth comes with how do you make all your cards work together, all the combos, and I find it to be so much fun. The reason why we don't play very much because it's like you want at least 3 or 4. It's 2 to 6. It's like 3 to 5.
3 to 5, but really 3 to 4 is a real sweet spot.
And I think it's so much fun. I think it's incredible. And
those combos are super cool. And the game does a nice thing where there are quite a few actually ways to have preset decks of cards that are going to maybe go in a certain direction. They'll have a couple cards that are going to combo off each other. And then once you get good, you can just kind of smash them all together. You can do drafting then to kind of set you up. But it's nice because it gives you ways to get into the game where like, oh, I have these cards and maybe it's my first play. I'm like, oh, I can see how this would combo with this, this. I'll go that direction. So it kind of helps you out so you're not completely stuck. Because if it was a game where we did the drafting and I know all the cards and you don't, I'm going to smash you probably.
Straight up.
So it's kind of, they do a lot of cool things to help kind of get people up and running with the game. I think it's fantastic. I think it looks great.
Production quality's done.
I think it's, John DeClaire did a great job.
John DeClaire.
It's a game that just, I mean, it's like not obviously horribly ranked. It's just outside the 1,000, but it's just like, man, it seems divisive. Like people either really dig it or cannot get into it at all.
Hate it. And it's
so
just like,
odd. I'm like, I love it.
I like it. Ego's First Continent is my choice for this 100. And that is going to be it. That is the next 1,000. We'll have to look at the next 1,000. I don't know if we can do a part 3 at that point.
We'll look
We're
into
getting
it.
into real garbage.
We'll go as long as we can. As long as we can.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a part 3. We'll look around. We'll see. If you want to see a part 3, let us know down in the comments below. And one of the coolest things about this top 100 we did last time was
y'all participated.
People put their list. We said, hey, put your list. Do this for yourself. Look at the top 1,000 games. And people did it. And it was so cool to look at everyone's list. So please, if you want to, do it again. Do the same thing. Go through 1,000 through 2,000 and pick one game
100.
from each 100. Put it in the comments below. We loved how many people did
Board Game Geek makes it easy because every page is 100. So when you go through a page, just look through, find your favorite game. You only get one. Exactly. Maybe do some honorable mentions about. You only get one.
Super, super cool. So let us know down in the comments what you thought of our list and put your own list down there, please. We want to thank this idea was originally, I think, was this originally from a patron?
It was helped named by our patrons.
Yeah, this was named by our patrons. That's right.
Yeah.
So you'll see our patrons come across here. We just want to give a shout out to our patrons like we do in all our top 10s because our patrons allow us to eat. Yeah, you know, it's like,
I mean, straight up, yes, they make it so we have what we call a living.
Yes, exactly. So thank you so much to our patrons. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. If you want to check out our Patreon, there's some cool stuff over there. Check it out down the link below.
We really a card up here or something for you.
There'll be stuff all over the place.
Everywhere you can imagine.
But yeah, thank you so much. We really, really, really appreciate it. And I think that's going to be it, man. Next 1,000 off the list.
Off the list. Who knew there's some good games in there?
Yeah.
I was wondering. Checked it. If you want to see us do any other types of top 10s, again, put those in the comments below. And until next time, I've been Mike.
I'm Nick.
We are the Brothers Murph, and we are out of here, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for watching that top 10, 1 in 100 games. Top 1,000, but there's only 1 in 100.
Yeah.
So it's top 10.
I don't know.
Of a sort.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to see the last 10 or 1 in 100 games we did, check out this direction. Sorry, thank you very much. And if you go down there, you'll see something really cool that we made in the past or the future, maybe. Who knows what's down there? Whatever YouTube decides.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell icon to get notifications for when we have videos.
Yeah.